Thank you, Judd and Tony. I'm Justin Walker from Walker's, Maine. We are excited to do a cooking demo in support of Great Bay Services fundraiser. It is really important in this time of need that programs like this continue to get funding, and we're here to help support that. Remember, even though the world sort of came to an end and is slowly coming back up and running again, these folks still really need our help, and so here we are. We're going to start off today by making two dishes. Well, kind of one dish, but it'll start off as two dishes. We're going to start off making a paella on our wood-fired hearth, and we're going to incorporate a really interesting marinated whole roasted chicken. It could be done on your barbecue, it could be a chicken thigh, it could be a whole chicken done on a hearth or a spit, or you could just use your oven. But we're going to start off by making something that you see in a lot of cultures. This is called sofrito. So it's very, very simple. It's always some sort of onion. So I'm just going to dice this onion up here. And we're going to incorporate, sorry, I have to look at the knife here. We're going to incorporate some garlic. So I'm going to go ahead and dice some garlic. And you don't have to be really picky about size here. You can just go ahead and do it quickly. If you like to use a mortar and pestle for your garlic, I prefer you don't use already chopped garlic. It's really something you want to do fresh. The sofrito is the base of a lot of soups, stews, and then of course the famous paella. Now everybody kind of thinks of paella as something that has to have seafood, and ours will, but it can also have things like chicken or just vegetables. It could also have beef, whatever you like. But you're going to start off by sauteing these onions. We're going to go ahead and add a little saffron to that. I'm going to go ahead and grab my pan here. So this is a classic pan you would use for paella. Anything like this shape would work just fine. You do want it to be a relative open surface area, nothing too small. And this paella will easily feed 6 or 8 people. So we're going to add a generous amount of olive oil. We're going to add saffron. And again, if you don't have saffron, it's okay. But remember, when you're cooking dishes like this, it really is all about company. And these folks, you know, especially during this rough period of the pandemic, have not had a lot of interaction. And so cooking has been a really important way for Great Bay Services via Zoom cooking classes and things like this to allow these folks to have some interaction and, you know, just enjoy something out of the ordinary. So we're going to go ahead, and we've got our olive oil and our garlic and our onions. We're going to add a little bit of tomato paste. I love this double concentrated tomato paste in the tube. We've all had the cans of tomato paste at home, and you need like that much. And then what do you do with it, right? Well, with this one here, you just throw the lid back on. Go ahead and stir that in. All right, we're gonna add a few clams. So this is where the seafood comes in. And then sort of the only part that you have to have is what we call kalaspara or bamba rice. This rice can absorb almost 9-to-1 liquid without getting soggy. So we're gonna go ahead and add that. Okay. A generous amount of salt. I know it seems like a lot, but not really. We're gonna go ahead and stir that in. So you can do it just like this at home. You don't have to have that pan screaming hot. I'm gonna add a little more olive oil. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna place it on the hearth. I'll come back and show you how to marinate the chicken. Great thing about paella is it takes a few minutes to cook. So while that's cooking, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna marinate this chicken. And I'm gonna show you that you don't have to always just do seafood with paella. So chicken, I love chicken and paella together. So it's a great way to incorporate something that's a little bit for the non-seafood lover, I guess. But this marinade kind of signifies to me sort of family and companionship and friendship, and sort of how hard it is to be stretched so far apart during these trying times. Friends of ours have a restaurant, and Lima, Peru, called yopo. And this marinade is what they use. Chicken is the thing that all Peruvians eat on Sundays. And so when I was going to do a whole chicken, I really wanted to try something different. We've been craving talking to our friends. He's stuck in Lima. He's been helping us out for several summers. So he sent me this marinade for the chicken, and it is like incredibly interesting. I'm not sure if you know, but Peruvian food, there's a lot of Japanese influence in their cuisine. So you see that in this marinade. Really, really interesting. So we'll start out by adding just regular old French's yellow mustard. A fair amount of it, as you can see. And then the interesting part of this is we're gonna add some miso. You'll see this a lot in Peruvian cooking, the juxtaposition of the different cultures. We're gonna, again, chop a little bit of garlic, and we can just smash this up. You don't have to be too fancy with a marinade. All right, I'm gonna put that in there. We're gonna add some toasted cumin seeds. Again, kind of an interesting flavor profile. A splash of vinegar. And then as he says, poquito azúcar, so a little bit of sugar. And then a lot of salt. So I know it seems a little ridiculous, but it sort of is what it is. A dash of soy. And then whatever sort of, I really like thyme and oregano. So this oregano came from our family farm, the Johnson farm, this morning. So we're gonna add a little bit of oregano to this. And again, you don't have to go crazy with the chopping. Just go ahead and get that in there. We'll add a dash of olive oil. And we are gonna go ahead and just stir this up. So this is a really interesting sort of mix of salty, not particularly sweet, which I really, really like. But the interesting part doesn't stop here. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put our whole chicken in there. Now, if you're doing a whole chicken or you're doing chicken with skin, ideally, open up the skin, take some marinade, and put it right in there. All right? So you're gonna coat that. Ideally, if you could do this part, it's a little out of sequence, but if you could do this part for just a few hours, that would be ideal. But again, it's okay just to do it just for a short period of time, just like this. You really wanna get in there with your hands though, and make sure that you get it well cleaned out. And the marinade's soaked in really nicely. So here's the part that's gonna confuse everybody. But I'm telling you right now, it's amazing. So we put the chicken in there, then we're gonna take mayonnaise. So in Peruvian cooking, they use a lot of mayonnaise. So this seems a little bit scary when, to the first thought, but if you really think about it, all mayonnaise is olive oil or oil and eggs. So the eggs in the mayonnaise allow this oil to stick, and it creates this amazing crust. It really makes the chicken ultra special, okay? So here at Walker's, we do all of our cooking on this amazing wood-fired hearth you see in the background. So we're gonna take this back and we're gonna hang it. We can go ahead and we'll add the stocks to this. They're on this side. Okay, so we have our paella off our heat source. Just remember, the paella generally takes between 20 and 30 minutes. This type of cooking there's no real recipe. You do have to sort of trial and error And that's what makes it fun. Cooking is all about the community. It's about interaction, which is why we're here, and also just about learning something new and making mistakes. The only way you learn anything is by making a mistake. And a really, really bad first shot at a paella is still pretty amazing for the home cook. So we have our paella. It's all finished. We're gonna go ahead and add some lobster meat. Now this is a good thing you wanna do off the heat. So you have your lobster meat's already cooked. So you're gonna go ahead, pull your paella off the heat. It's still really warm, and sort of work in. You don't wanna stir the rice, you just sort of wanna work in the meat, kind of put it in there. It'll just get warm just by the residual heat. We're gonna go ahead and chop some red bell pepper. I really like red bell pepper or sweet pepper as a garnish for paella. So you're just gonna go ahead, and again, you can do it as small or as big as you think you can. There's no real textbook for this one. Just a nice quick chop like everything else in the paella. I love to add things like fresh greens. Here's some fresh spinach. Just gonna go ahead and push that in. And again, the residual heat's gonna sort of take care of this for you. So we'll put a little bit in like that. And then of course, if you're doing both recipes in a night, you've got your amazing chicken. So just go ahead and peel some breast meat off. And we'll sort of put that right in there as well. You can see how juicy that chicken stays. Be afraid to dig right in there. And I love to finish with some olive oil. This dish really benefits generously, or benefits well, with a generous amount of olive oil. And that's your dish. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. It means a lot to be able to use my years of cooking and studying these types of dishes to help support Great Bay Services and all the amazing things they do for people. Again, cooking is so incredibly important for community and for communication for these particular folks. So thank you so much for supporting. Look forward to having you at Walker's. We reopen May 26th after a year of sort of turmoil, but we are doing it. We're reopening. So thank you so much again. I really appreciate being involved.